Hello Animorphs fans, welcome back to the Animorphs Review YouTube channel. And we're doing some more drinking! We're done with the TV series. I actually had a dream last night that there were 2 extra hidden Animorphs episodes, but it wasn't to be. Right, so we're starting on podcasts, and we're starting today with the Thought Speak podcast, episode 19, and we're talking about the underground. I'm drinking Budweiser today, because why not? And we have a whole new list of drinking rules if you're playing along. If you're not drinking, every drink, every single finger counts for 5 press-ups. Or if you're eating, every finger counts for a cinnamon... That's a bit harsh. Every, I don't know, 4 fingers counts for a full cinnamon bun. That's that. And today's rules are... or for the foreseeable future. Modern political issues, 2 fingers. Character traits, which includes Jake's leadership, Rachel's impulsiveness, Tobias emo, and like arrogance, Cassie nature lover, Marco jokes, Axe cluelessness, Vista3 always there, Chi mission, and Hawk bark. That's 1 finger for each of those. Anytime TV show is criticised is 4 fingers, 90s references 3 fingers, movie talk 2 fingers, author mention 1 finger, something is wrong 2 fingers, as in something they've said is wrong, factually, near enough objectively. Naughty talk, which is up to my discretion, is 2 fingers. And a new one that I just added this today is anytime they mention their own podcast name is 1 finger. But there's one last thing, and that's anytime cinnamon buns are mentioned, it's a down your drink moment. It's a finish what's left. Okay, so it's an hour and 11 minutes. I'll try to pause it as infrequently as possible. Let's just go.
Hello, and welcome to The Gardens, located in sunny... The Gardens is one of the largest combined zoological habitat and theme parks in the world. With over 72 thrilling attractions and nearly 11,000 animals in our care, we know that every member of your
unusual
family
start.
will find something incredible each time you visit.
I dig it though.
But that's just the start of your adventure. To really see what the park has to offer, I'll turn you over to our top 2 guides. Take it away, boys.
Welcome to Thought Speak, a podcast dedicated to the weekly discussion of K. Applegate's
That was a
book series, Animorphs.
podcast name mentioned 1 finger.
And my name is Mitchell. What up, everybody?
What's going on? If you haven't heard, or if we haven't posted it yet, or you're just not aware of our website, Twitter, or Facebook,
Or if you're actively ignoring us.
stop.
Certainly am not actively ignoring
We
you.
just finished.
I'm drinking to you.
Like probably a good 4 minutes ago, another private Thought Speak, which if you, like I said, if you haven't been following us,
While they're
there's
talking
our
about
new
this, I will leave
little,
links in description for the
off-the-cuff
podcast
discussions
home
that are
site,
separate
what
from-
have you. So if you really like it,
usually separate from
go
Animorphs.
check
We
it
talked
out.
about Animorphs a little bit in this one, but
Just a little side project to keep everybody kind of tied over until the next episode comes out.
yeah, you guys should let us know what you think of those. Are they only going up on YouTube?
Yeah, for now. I don't see really any reason to throw them on iTunes
No, don't.
as of yet.
We shouldn't do that, but maybe we should make.
I imagine a lot of these podcasts will have these moments where they're talking about advertising.
We could do
themselves
technically
and
a
what have
separate
you.
RSS feed.
I'm not expecting much drinking activity now, but
Perhaps.
pretty
if
good
they
audio
prove
quality.
popular enough.
Nice one, guys.
Yeah.
What are the
I don't
names again?
We'll see what happens, but
I like it
Is it
right now. the way we're
Mitchell and
doing it.
Coleman? I think they said.
Almost effortless.
you're effortless.
I just cut the audio and throw it over. Still in
Now, if you
there.
remember, I did not like this book, hence why I've chosen this episode.
That's true.
See if I disagree with them on any points.
Well, welcome to the show. Thanks for listening to another one.
Thanks
if
for
you're-
tuning in.
If you're new to the show, I don't know why you jumped in on number 17. 17?
Because I
That's
want
kinda
to
ridiculous.
drink,
Go back and
lads.
start at 1. That's where you learn about what yerks are.
Don't tell me what
Back
to
when
do.
we're still getting our sea legs for
Yeah,
podcasting.
We're a little rusty.
I'm waiting for that
young
1
and
finger for Thought Speak
idealistic
podcast.
about what a podcast could be or what kind of schedule we could keep.
We were an
Um,
ambitious young squad with everything to prove.
Oh, good. Keep it
nothing
that
to
way.
lose.
Keep your
Now we have
youths.
everything to lose. And the harsh realities of life have made us cynical and really depressed, if I'm being honest.
That's you, man. I'm living life to the fullest over here.
I like that
Well, we're going
attitude.
to jump straight into
I like
our
that-
discussion of book
Was that Mitchell?
17,
I like that
The
attitude.
Underground. And
Yeah.
we're going to do that now.
This section of the park houses one of the most extensive research
Who's
libraries
the girl's
devoted
voice?
to animal biology on the West Coast. Your guides will provide a thorough summary of any book that might catch your eye. Careful though, once you get them started, they'll never want to stop.
Well, they only go on for
Like
an
I said,
hour and
we
11
are
minutes. They
discussing
stop
and
eventually.
reviewing Book number 17, The Underground.
Yep.
This is a Rachel book, which I don't know how I feel about those right now. I think they're kind of still a little iffy as far as whether I care about being in her head.
It doesn't get better.
There are
It does
some
not
things
get
that
better.
Kind of irk me, but we'll
22 was
point
good.
them out as I go.
I'm going to go ahead and read the back. What's tasty, good for you, and only takes about 60 seconds to make. Oatmeal. And it's making the Yerks more than a little crazy. Now Rachel, the other Animorphs, and Axe have a new weapon against the Yerks. Sounds good, right? Wrong, because it means another trip to the Yerk pool, and the possibility of running into...
It's written differently on the UK version.
Not being able to get back up to the surface. The Animorphs and Axe have taken chances before and been very lucky, but this time their luck may be about to run out.
Slightly different on the UK
no.
version.
Their luck's not about... They've never,
unusual.
They've never been lucky in the past. I mean, they've survived, but their luck is terrible.
They've been pretty lucky.
Right, yeah. Their luck's constantly running out, and then
Yeah.
running back in.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably
This is
fair
the
assessment.
Animorphs book that you are embarrassed to read in public because it's super pink, has just a blonde girl on the front turning into a bat.
Green.
Uh,
UK.
Yeah, but if I must say, Rachel is at her most attractive on this cover thus
she's
far.
like 13.
You can't tell that by looking at the model. Also, this is when
That
the,
counts as naughty
the
talk. That's
cover
2
quote
fingers.
officially
Drink.
jump the shark here. There's
Jump the
nothing
bat?
to fear but the Yerks themselves.
That makes no sense. Hey, to be fair, at least we have 4 ellipses on the front to match the back.
Ooh,
Remember when those didn't match up?
Continuity.
No, 3.
Crazy. And I will
3.
say, even though it's very pink,
It's a different cover. I know.
the overall design seems more conformed and a little more higher quality.
Actually, yeah, they're
That's
right.
true.
That's a pretty good assessment, actually. I didn't think of that.
Background looks more tie-dye-ish and not as, bad graphics.
Actually, a really good mid-morph. I'll give it
Still
that.
looks
I'll
like
give
some
the book
difference
that.
clouds rendered in Photoshop here.
Yeah, it's possible. The inside cover is staggeringly
Don't have one.
staggeringly relevant, which is a surprise.
Yeah, it's not a bad inside
Oh,
flap.
nope, never mind. Sorry. I was going to give the inside cover praise, but if this is correct, the Yerk pool is about 15 feet wide.
I'm just going to find Seropedia. Hold on. I'm going to bring up... Oh, there we go, Seropedia. The Underground. I'm going to just bring up the Underground page just for reference here. So what's the... So that's the inside cover. I think you can see that. Yeah, you should be able to.
No, I assume that's not the Yerk pool pictured there. in
Well, then
this.
why are stairs leading directly into this small body of water?
Well, I mean, it's obviously not the Yerk pool. There's no. It's not the leaden gray. There's no pier. There's no controllers huddled around it.
Yeah, I see where
I
he's
think
coming from.
This is just a common thing that we've run into.
It's a
here.
portmanteau
Artists
of
not knowing what
scenarios.
they're doing.
But yeah, to be fair, they might think this is the Yerk pool and just not know about any of that stuff. They're like a pool.
It could be a small
Yerks are
section of
bad
the Yerk
guys,
pool.
right? I guess this is where they.
I mean, it is supposed to be massive.
They-
Maybe that's
they
one
live-
corner.
They live in caves and dive into pools. I don't know.
At some point we do have to start blaming Michael Grant and Kay Applegate. Well, not so Michael Grant, because I doubt he was really in the business side of things, because as far as I know, Kay Applegate was just taking credit for all of this, and no one knew Michael Grant was writing half of it. But
I do wonder what the ratio was.
Because, when you're on book 17, you've seen some of the bad decisions these artists are making with your covers and inside covers. And
Bit harsh, but then again, I haven't got the inside covers.
like even
so-
shout things across the room at them so that they have knowledge, even if they're not trying to remember it.
I don't know. Scholastic must have just told her to, stick to writing and we'll stick to the marketing.
I wouldn't be
Poor
surprised.
decision on everyone's part.
That,
Yeah, don't leave anything to Scholastic.
know.
That was the death of Animorphs, let's be honest.
That's true.
Scholastic's...
you
Well,
want
you
to
wanna
get into the
start us off?
story here?
I was going to say the exact same thing about you. You want to do a summary of the overall plot, or just jump into the...
What? No.
Oh, no.
We always do, but
I forgot. This new series, of course, author mention was one finger, so there was enough author mention there, I think, to at least have 3 fingers. Drink.
I think this one, we could stop and just at least address the community and how they talk about this one, because it's different from a lot of the ones. This isn't like a big book. It's not some epic mythology book or anything, but it is one talked about quite a bit.
Why?
And I think it's because it centers around oatmeal, and a lot of people took that as just ridiculous, and it's an inside joke. With the
Yeah,
Animorphs
it's almost
community.
like
And it's crap.
The Andalite toilet back from book 14.
Book 14 was
Yeah,
good. I
so,
liked
I
book
mean-
14.
I don't think I'm spoiling anything saying that gets a lot of jabs and joking around with the Animorphs community, and the fact that it's all about oatmeal, and that in itself is funny, but I think a little bit like the Andalite toilet book, this book takes it seriously. I mean, it's not just joking around.
Yeah,
It's kind
and
of
the jokes
joking
fall
in the fact that
completely
it's
flat,
oatmeal
like
and the
90%
kids
of the
joking about
time.
that. But it takes the plot pretty straightforward.
Yeah, there's a pretty cool element, I thought, about the whole oatmeal thing, but
No.
we'll get into that.
No.
You want to start us off with what goes on in the beginning?
Oh, you bet I do. And this one's a doozy, because it starts out with the team basically trying to convince Jake.
Oh,
They
this
all wanna go
scene.
check out this Planet Hollywood
Fuck's
event.
sake, this scene.
And it's a big deal because there's going to be a lot of celebrities there. Particularly the ones that they're really excited for are Arnold Schwarzenegger and Lucy Lawless, who played Xena.
90s reference, 3 fingers, drink.
Big 90s reference.
There, you even said it. 90s reference,
I
3
think
fingers.
Stallone and Willis are
Oh, yeah,
mentioned
Bruce
offhandedly.
Willis, right?
Yep.
There's a lot of celebrities, but the bogus excuse that they come up with here is that so Axe can learn about human culture.
Yeah, it was bollocks.
Yeah, obviously Marco and them just want to see some celebrities and get into a unexclusive event. Basically everything they're against.
Yep,
It's not particularly something they want to do.
yep. And
Here's
Jake
a good
doesn't
chance
say
for them
anything.
to use their powers for personal gain.
Do you honestly think I'm at book
Except now
35?
everybody's on board. So
Jake wouldn't allow that.
Basically, well,
No.
after what happened in the last book, they kind of need a little
yeah,
R&R,
a little pick me up.
as much as they can possibly get.
Yeah. So after a little food court scene, which is always good with Axe just eating a cinnamon and apparently eating a cinnamon bun from.
Oh, down your drinks, everyone! Down your drinks! Oh, and anyone who's eating for this challenge, you have to eat a whole cinnamon bun. But yeah, whatever you have left in your glass, you got to drink it. Because I mentioned cinnamon buns, and that's the rules. That's the rules.
Causes him to just continue eating even when the bun is gone. Like if the bun touched something, he's gonna eat that as well.
Yo, that's not
so
till a
that's-
little bit later.
And that's one finger for Axe cluelessness.
Go ahead. No, it's right here.
Drink.
Jumping ahead all the time.
Because my phone skipped ahead. Sorry.
Stupid phone. That's why you can't depend on phone technology for podcasting.
We're off to a good start, everyone.
They go to this big Planet Hollywood event, and I like that they actually say that it's Planet Hollywood, because sometimes, they come up with generic terms when, I guess, using the proper term is not acceptable. Even though they have no problem with product.
Planet Hollywood's in here.
Taco Bell and all these
Yeah.
other places.
And if you're, under the age of 20 and you're trying to figure out what a Planet Hollywood is, it's just basically a restaurant that with a ton of
Yep.
movie memorabilia.
It's the same in the British
from
version, Planet Hollywood.
movies, and it's all Hollywood themed, and it's actually owned by Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone.
Right. So it's
It was a
not
big thing in
crazy
the
to think
90s.
that these celebrities would be out there representing this.
No, they open them all the time.
Cool.
And the team is flying around in bird morph, having a grand old time looking at all the celebrities when Rachel spots a just guy going crazy in some building downtown.
The Kenny building.
And he looks like he's about to bust out one of the windows and leap to his death. And the Animorphs act quickly in time
This was shit.
to catch the guy as he's falling. And, this is like 4 or 5 giant birds gliding this person down.
Yeah, it was
Let's see, I
bullshit.
didn't know how believable that was because
Exactly.
most of them are pretty small. I mean, Rachel's morph is the only decent-sized bird. Ospreys are tiny. Peregrine falcons are pretty small. Tobias is maybe...
The guys
mid-sized
they get it.
dog,
They get it.
you know?
They're on my
I think
wavelength.
Tobias was more just like guiding them along, and
Yeah.
it wasn't like they were actually lifting the guy. They were trying to glide him to
They
safety.
only moved him a little bit towards the already close river, so that helped the believability.
Do forgive me, by the way. I've
Yeah,
forgotten
they
which
dump
one's
him off in
Mitchell
the
and which one's
river, and to stop the guy from drowning, Rachel goes in and
Yes, Mitchell. And I forget which one's which.
Dumps him out
I do
there.
apologise.
I don't know about this scene, honestly. This when I read this, I was like, ugh, we're not off to a good start.
Yeah, it's just setting up the plot. It's just some exposition.
It's a bad scene.
I know.
It's a bad book.
I don't like it when the plot hinges on heavy coincidence, which is something that happens a lot. in
Plot
anime,
convenience.
but this one really, really irked me.
Yep. Thank you.
I kind of see. I mean, granted, we are coming into the books as things are happening, so you could kind of not chalk it up to coincidence. I think in this Yorktown,
can.
now that we've gotten an idea of how big the invasion is, which is pretty much centered around this town for now, I would say that an alien population invading is going to cause plenty of strange events that if they're outdoors and they're in morph doing things, they're going to run into some weird stuff. So it's possible and not
It's a stretch, though. It's a stretch.
just right place, right time. I think there's probably a lot of events like this happening with, a newly invading alien species, and they're running across like 1/5 of them.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to say it's not possible that they could be out flying around for one thing and then just happen to spot a guy committing suicide who just happens to be, the...
Yep. Exactly. It's too
Well, when you say
fucking
it like
convenient.
that,
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
that's
I like
what
these
thought
guys.
it
I like
was,
these
but
guys.
Whatever. As you said, yeah, it sets up the plot.
not to carry this on much longer, but to be fair, this book itself does say that this is a widespread problem. This is not just a few Yeerks. Tons and tons of Yeerks are addicted to this stuff. So there could be tons of events like this happening.
I guess that's true. That is true. And then this is where we cut to later at the mall where the team is assembling for some good old dialogue at the food court. And I believe this is the first scene where Axe is introduced to Cinnamon Bun.
Down your drinks. Down your drinks. Down your drinks. Oh, what a start to the episode. What a start. Drink.
Bunza.
No, it's not the first cinnamon buns scene ever. We've already had
Really?
two.
Have we?
100%.
Oh, well. It's just been so long, I guess.
They find out the guy's name though, which is interesting. The guy.
Yeah. George Edelman is this.
George
controller,
Edelman.
this mad controller's name. Although they don't know he's a controller. At this
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, and Rachel.
Please, no more cinnamon buns.
She is like, oh, I didn't even try to look up the guy's name, but now that she knows it, it's like, oh, that's the guy I saved. That means something.
Yeah, and everybody's like, oh, you saved him. You're responsible for him now. Kind of joking about that.
Apparently,
She
he's a
doesn't really take
Wookiee.
it very serious.
A Wookiee.
He has a life debt to her now.
Eh?
Right, yeah. And then later, we've got Rachel hanging out at home, having one of these, Rachel's home life scenes with her sister, and her mom comes in, and
Which, to interrupt real quick, is my first note that I wrote down.
oh yeah,
The fact that this is one of the first few times that we get continuity within the person who we're following versus just continuity with the last book. Rachel's in her kitchen. It mentions that it's still under construction from when, back in the reaction, when she...
Well, at least the underground was consistent in one thing.
nearly killing her sister.
Classic Rachel storyline.
Yeah, we have continuity from Rachel's last book.
Well done, book series. You were consistent with the book series.
Of whatever the last book is, maybe they'll mention it a couple times or something, the plot of that one. So I found that good. That's a good direction the series should take to make it more personal, make the continuity more personal, and slightly more complicated, which is the sign of a good book series.
Yeah, it definitely gains points, for harkening back, and that makes sense. That
Well, I disagree. I mean, we've passed book 15, where we talk about Marco's mother, and we've seen her before, so that's... Unless they're talking about it in a way that I'm not thinking about it.
I mention it then, being that this is the first time we've really had a scene with Rachel and her family in her house in quite a while. Probably since the reaction, in fact.
Well, that would be obvious, because that was the last Rachel book. I'm counting that as something wrong, guys. I'm sorry. That's 2 fingers for us drinkers. Drink. Hold on, give me a sec. 2 fingers, drink.
Yep.
So it's all good, and her mom is kind of upset with her for a little bit until she mentions that she is George Edelman's new lawyer. Coincidental.
That's the coincidence that bugs me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coincidence.
I saw it coming,
Remember, I titled the episode for the review of this. How
super
convenient.
Coincidental. Plus the fact that this is also when Rachel finds out from her mom, nonetheless, that George Edelman's going crazy because he thinks he's got a York in his head.
Yeah, funny little scene hearing her mom talk about the alien invasion that her daughter's fighting, but still.
Oh, she's gonna get well acquainted with it later on.
So they decide to go where George Edelman is being housed, which is a mental facility, because
which they keep referring to as a nut house.
Yeah, not very politically correct anymore.
Oh, modern political issues. 2 fingers, drink.
No, but it makes sense given the fact that they're all 14, 15-year-olds.
Yeah, no, it makes sense, but this wouldn't have flown probably if it came out this year. If they got to 17 and the re-releases, they would probably change this whole joking conversation about nuts.
It lasted about 5 pages. How do you remove 5 pages from the book? I don't
A
know.
little strong here, but I guess maybe that's just the adult in me going, ooh.
Those darn Animorph kids.
Always fooling around.
Kids being disrespectful to the mentally disabled.
So they find a way to sneak in, which is a mental facility. It's locked down pretty tight. But they see it's being delivered to by trucks, normal stuff. So they fly into the back of the truck and demorph in a very cramped space.
Tight spaces. Rachel and Marco, and then her cousin is also there.
Oh my god, I'm drinking too much. I didn't expect... That's naughty talk. That's 2 fingers, Jesus. Oh. We're a third of the way through, and all around me I just see empty Budweiser bottles. Thought Speak podcast, what are you doing to me? 2 fingers, drink.
And they go cockroach before they're caught by the people who saw them fly in as birds.
Right, yeah. Kind of hard to miss that.
Even though this was a silly coincidence, I thought this was pretty funny. The fact that they're talking about how, this is a delivery.
How convenient.
Food in it. The food it has is fruit from
Shit book.
Not just any fruit. They're in a box of bananas from South America.
Yeah, and they make a joke. I'd love to know if they were referencing arachnophobia or something with Jeff Daniels. But they make a joke about how some of these crates, they come with spiders and tarantulas and stuff from South America that love to, eat the flies and insects that come for bananas.
Yeah. And of course, because they mention this,
It
that
happens.
immediately happens. And you know what? I don't mind the scene. I like the fact that they included the tarantula in the bananas. That's great. But what I didn't like was the fact that, one character points it out.
And then it happens. Yeah, I didn't like it either. I didn't like it.
That came off as a coincidence when it didn't need to be.
Yeah,
They could have very easily just been attacked by the spider, And then maybe had Cassie mention after the
Yeah.
incident. Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
That-
Exactly. I like these guys. They know. They know.
Right.
Cassie just had some knowledge, was just like, yeah, that happens every once in a while.
I just would have liked to have that explanation come after it instead of before it. Because
I
then
agree.
it seemed, predictable.
I agree.
So Tobias comes in and eats the spider.
Right, yeah, before Rachel's in real danger here, and she's like lost cockroach legs and stuff, and Tobias just swoops in like, oh, is that you down there? Comes in and eats the spider.
Yeah, which that can't be healthy for a hawk. Tarantulas from South America. You don't know
I'm
what
willing to
diseases.
bet they eat weirder stuff.
You don't know what disease that South American tarantula is carrying for North American hemisphere.
Well, if he gets ill, he can just morph and demorph. He's all right.
Rich in potassium. It's been living off those bananas for quite a while.
That's true. They finally get inside, and Rachel actually gets in the room with Edelman.
Yeah, it's
She gets in
surprising.
the room with the guy she saved, so that's interesting.
Very convenient.
Not just any room.
Yeah, he believes her a little too quick, because the whole premise of this conversation and everything is that he's not actually crazy. He's just a controller. And not even a real controller. He's a human.
Right, I do have to apologise. I'm going to have to change the battery of my camera. Be right back. 3, 2, 1, go.
Human who just knows he's a controller. So he should have maybe thought this was a little weirder.
He assumes that her presence there means she knows what's going on, and I like that they even had him come to the conclusion. He goes, Andalite? And she just kind of nods or acknowledges that, and then he can go on to explain himself.
They play pretty fast and loose in this entire book with their identities.
Yeah, they're getting a little bit more bold, what with the Speaking Divisor 3, and
Yep. A load of
speaking
bollocks.
controllers in general, and yeah, like taking risks with Edelman.
Speaking of Divisor 3, I understand that and like its development, but showing, like, this is why you should have other human morphs, so that you can do this situation without revealing that you're a 14-year-old kid and what your face looks like.
That, or everybody should have just acquired Axe. And then,
It's
boom,
a bunch of axes
Andalite
running around.
morphs.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then they'd all be
I'm sure
identical.
They would, pose a...
If they all were identical, it'd be even more of a giveaway that there was something else in
I can't see
Morph.
there not being a future ghostwritten book that doesn't have them morphing Andalites. At least a couple of them or something.
Yeah, actually, I honestly don't know if they do ever... I'm pretty sure they don't ever acquire Andalite morphs.
I don't think
Tobias
they do,
does.
because it seems like they would actually use those, but
Then again, it wasn't the illusion, which
it
was
seems
also
like
a shit
too
book.
easy of a premise that one of the Ghost Riders didn't jump on that.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they just didn't have enough time to tackle that.
Well, to be fair,
Maybe
the
they
ghostwriters
felt,
were given
a book on Atlantis was
pre-scripts.
far more worth their time.
It was. That's the book with orcas. I am so excited for that book. It's not even funny.
That's the next one I'm
We'll
reading.
get to it in time. But through speaking with this poor guy, George Edelman, who is resigned to this terrible life with this just insane yerk living in his head, who refuses to leave. He's stuck in this nut house, for lack of a better term, for the rest of his life in this terrible situation. But
I gotta say, for all that criticism of the Animorphs calling it a nut house, and then for you to call it a nut house, it's just what? You criticise the Animorphs for doing it, and then you fucking do it. Sort yourself out.
Rachel learns about this yerk's, basically this addictive substance to them, and their one true weakness at this point, which is this instant maple ginger oatmeal.
Maple and ginger oatmeal.
Right, and I mean, I can't stand oatmeal. I hate it, so...
Isn't it just
Pretty
porridge?
fitting weakness.
I like oatmeal, specifically maple. So that's weird.
Man, I tried getting into oatmeal, but I just can't get over the texture. It just felt like regurgitated, vomit in my mouth.
Yeah. Well, some people like it, some people don't. The Yerks definitely don't.
Well, actually, the problem is that the yerks do.
Well, their bodies don't, is what I meant. It is so addictive. Not only is it distracting them and causing them to go crazy in that aspect, it's literally making them go crazy as well. They can't handle it over a long period of time without losing control of their hosts and just basically rotting away inside the brain without dying.
Yeah, I like that element of it, though, is that it does allow them
By the way,
to survive Androna.
I missed a finger. I missed a finger. Author mention also includes ghostwriters, so drink.
Which that's clever because then it kind of helps us believe that it's addictive as well, because that would make sense that they'd be addicted to something that they already need to survive on, something that has that aspect to it.
Yeah, this is like the Yerks discovering processed food. McDonald's.
No, this is like them discovering like
McDonald's is icky.
like instant suntans or something.
Right. And then having that instantly turn them crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a huge problem for the Yerks, and now the team knows about it.
So of course we got to go back to Cassie's barn and discuss the ethics of the situation and
well, really,
how we can
that's
fight it.
the best place for it, Yeah. And I like this conversation, actually. The team gets around to kind of debate the ethics of using an addictive substance to fight in the war. And I like
mean, they're
that.
basically talking, biochemicals.
Yeah. I mean...
No, that's wrong. What they debated in the barn was whether it was ethical to do it because they knew that it would affect the human host. Not the fact that they're using biological weapons. I'll give them a moment just to see if they correct that. But if not, we're drinking two fingers.
Biochemical
There's a
warfare.
lot that could be insinuated with this, and...
Wait, let's just look at this. Hold on. We've got the book here. We can check this. Let's have a look. I think they're more talking about... Right. Are we there yet? Nope, that's not it. Right, yeah, we're at Cassie's barn. We have our ultimate weapon. Cassie's just oatmeal. Maybe it's ginger. Maybe so. Just give me a second to find this. We and lights have long been at war. We've been at war along the new wind, so the temptation to sink to the level of your enemy. Look, Margaret said the... Oh, hold on. If you get addicted... Look, Marco said, the bigger question is... What about the hosts, the humans, Zach said? The Yerks are made invulnerable to their normal hunger for Kendrona. They can live inside their human host forever, even if the oatmeal is later taken away. These hosts would lose all hope. So that's our Axe raising the argument that it affects the hosts. They're not sink to the level of... I don't know anymore, okay, she said. Cassie being just Cassie not knowing anymore. Okay, maybe this oatmeal is a drug to the Yerks, but you know what? This is a war. Sooner or later, if the Yerks are successful, if the Andalites... This isn't like... We can't compromise the Yerks parasites. How do we eat them? It's oat freaking meal! Marco exploded. All right, some monks and lies we can... No, they were ending slavery. They were just guys trying to be brave. Maybe they could have compromise. No, I'll let them off because there's just the slightest hint of talking about biological, well, drugs, which I suppose you could say is biological weaponry. So I'll let them off.
I don't know. I thought they could have tackled this element a lot more, but they all seem to settle on it pretty quickly.
I just want to point out real quick, we haven't been talking about Rachel's perspective on the story so far. Because in my mind, she doesn't have much of one. She's pretty absent from this book told in the first person from her mind.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, in that...
I agree totally.
Just wants to go along with the plan. Whatever the plan is, no matter how crazy, no matter how dangerous it is, she is actively all for it. Always.
I know, but when we talk about a Cassie book, and we talk about them quite a bit, and we have our own very strong opinions on them, we at least know it feels like a Cassie book. And the only in Jake's book, oh my gosh, those are becoming so centric towards his problems.
Yes.
His identifying factors.
Yes.
His personality.
Jake is the boss.
Different from the rest of the series because there's so much Jake. And same thing, you could say the exact same thing with Marco. Same thing, Cassie.
Yep,
Rachel,
I agree.
So far, I mean, they keep playing up the I'm dangerous, I'm going to jump in every situation, and I have to, and that worries
That's
me.
impulsiveness, character traits, one finger.
It's just kind of background noise to whatever plot's happening.
Yeah, that seems to be her trademark for the time being. That and
Drink, by the way, if you didn't. Drink.
I would say that really, we get out of that funk when we hit the David trilogy. And
yeah,
she has
that's
real
what
things
gives
to
me.
deal with.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I'd say so.
Her, actually, now thinking about it, her perspective on that is...
That scene with Jake and Rachel in the hospital, oh, that was good.
I can't wait for that, because we definitely don't have it in this book.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Well, a little bit towards the end, I think she comes off a little bit cooler.
No, she doesn't. No, it's a lie.
Sec.
Does that count as something wrong?
Nah, it's actually really cool from this book. Is after the team kind of debates about whether or not they should use oatmeal and decide for it, they're all pretty disappointed because of course that means another trip to the Yerk pool is imminent.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next scene we've got Rachel waking up kind of early at home and she wants to sit down and do some homework. And this is a cool scene because we get Tobias coming to her window and sitting at her desk with her and helping her with her math homework.
And it's very nonchalant. It even makes a reference to the fact that this is a very normal thing between them, which is cool. It's like they have this kind of private...
It's not cool. I'm tempted to call that something wrong and drink two fingers.
And, it's a nice little scene. The whole purpose of it is for Tobias to give the information that he's found a new entrance to the Yerk pool. But just the way that it's handled in this nice little scene, we get a tiny bit of, relationship development between these two characters that we haven't seen for quite a while. And it's nice. And it works because the next scene we cut to is the team going to this new entrance to the Yerk pool. And it's at a McDonald's.
Of course.
Yeah, and this is the classic fan conversation of, or not conversation, but reference to the Happy Meal with Extra Happy.
Happy Meal with Extra Happy.
That Tobias has painstakingly...
The only good thing from this book...
After scoping out this McDonald's for so long is they have to wait around for somebody to order a Happy Meal with...
Just in case you haven't seen my review videos for the series, just for context, I did not like this book. I gave it a 3 out of 10, which is the second... I'm up to book 35. I've just finished book 35 and Visser. This is the joint second worst book. I did not like this book. I don't think there was much good in it at all. So, just for that context.
Extra happy, that's the key word. And they're all in Flymorph at the time.
By the way, I just want to... we're nearly halfway through the episode. I just want to take this moment to look through the comments. Thank you all so much for commenting on the TV series reactions. I'm hoping that this podcast thing is much the same. Obviously, you're not going to get the visual stimuli of the TV series, but it's more about audio. But the concept is much the same. And I've already gotten through 5 bottles, and I'm not even halfway through the episode, so I'm probably going to get pretty sloshed pretty often. But thank you so much for watching these episodes. And Chickles says, I was another quiet but loyal watcher. It was so fun to watch the episodes. I had a good crack at the TV show Sloppiness. I look forward to next videos. Thank you for the good time. Thank you so much. And it's okay that you were a quiet watcher, but now that you've come out into the open, I'm expecting you to drink a fuck lot and comment a fuck lot, right? An extra finger for you. And I'm dedicating this finger. Do I get a shot of rum? No, because I don't know how drunk I'm going to get. But I'm going to drink a special finger for you. And you can drink along if you want. Chickles, welcome to the channel. It's a heckin' pleasure to have you here. Hope you enjoy the videos.
And they wait around until this happens, and then they follow this person inside this back secret room that I think is hidden in the freezer or something.
Yeah.
And here we have a new little update to the Yerk technology and security for the Yerk pools.
The Gleep biofilter.
Yeah, the Gleet biofilter.
Yes.
To be honest, I'd never read this book before, but I'd heard of this, obviously. The later books really go into it.
Yeah,
so I was really happy to see the origin of that is in this book.
You mentioned that you've never read this book before. I know that I've read it, but it must have been, back in the elementary school days during the first run of the series, because I didn't remember anything concerning the oatmeal, but I did when we get to it. I vaguely remembered Mole Morph.
Mole
That was the
morph.
only thing that really resonated with
That
me.
was a completely pointless morph in this book.
I did kind of
Pointless.
long time ago. I didn't remember anything else from the book.
Not only was it pointless to the plot of the book, but the message it was trying to get across, overcoming your fear, was covered in the last 2 books before this one.
Yeah, that one. That's the one that made the cover.
Yeah, you never really know. And that's the problem with books like this, is people pigeonhole them to the one specific plot element. This is the oatmeal book. That's what it's known for. Nobody ever calls it the Mole Morph book.
No one ever calls it the Gleet biofilter book.
Yeah.
No.
No one
I agree
calls
with
it
that. That's the
that.
problem with the episodic natures of the
That's
books.
one thing that I kind of like that we're doing with these podcasts, is pointing out the fact that these books have a lot more going on for them than what the fan base remembers them for.
We're
Fair
shining
point,
a
fair point.
bold, bright light on the darkness that is the spreading Animorphs fan community.
This...
I guess.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're talking Gleep biofilters, right?
Yeah,
So they're,
right.
they're in the freezer chamber with the controller. Everything seems to be going well, and then like an alarm goes off, and Axe is like, "Oh my God, everybody GTFO!" And they have to bail real quick. And in fact, some of them end up like losing wings or something because they're hardly through the crack in the door.
I don't remember
Yeah, I
that.
really like that because
I don't remember that. I'm sorry, I don't remember that. Hold on a minute. Just give me a sec. Because if it's something wrong, it's 2 fingers. Breet. Life. Okay, shut your eyes. Get out of here. Axe never yells. So if he does yell, you have to figure it's a good idea to pay attention. So the whole world blew up in a dazzling. They were shut from the Yerk pool. It's hard to get too upset. Hold on. So they were blinded.
They're in the freezer chamber with the controller. Everything seems to be going well, and then like an alarm goes off, and Axe is like, "Oh my God, everybody
Yep, okay.
GTFO!" And they have to bail real quick. And in fact, some of them end up like losing wings or something.
No. Wrong. Something wrong. 2 fingers. They didn't lose any wings. They were temporarily blinded, but they didn't lose any wings. Drink.
Hardly through the crack in the door.
yeah, and I really
before it
like
goes
that
off.
because Axe is really goofy in this book until he's not in this scene where he flips out and gets them out of there just in time. So that was nice. I like that.
Is that Axe cluelessness trait? Yeah, go on then. 1 finger for that. Drink.
Turn that one.
Yeah, but this prevents this proposes a new problem. The team assumes that every entrance is probably similarly protected by these technologies, and they're just kind of like, well, crap, what are we gonna do now? And this is when Cassie offers everybody an alternate way to access the Yerk pool,
Moles.
which is, of course, Mole.
Moles.
Hans Molemanmorph.
I've been
Hans
feeling better about Cassie
Moleman
lately.
Mole.
She's been coming up with better reasons to exist, and she's becoming a stronger element of the crew. This is another one of those. What the hell were they thinking listening to her? Mole is so small, and you're gonna be digging hundreds of meters down to get to the Yerk pool.
Yep.
It works. Don't get me wrong. We all know.
Oh, it does.
Read this book.
Does it
It
work?
ends up working, but it nearly kills them just from having to do it. I mean, it's a lot more work than probably finding the many
close
other
to
ways
something
get
wrong.
into the Yerk pool later.
Well, yeah, and I think Cassie maybe overestimated the mole's ability, and I think she even admits herself that she doesn't know a whole lot about the moles, And that's why when everybody they get their mole morphs and they go and find a vacant house that's kind of above the Yerk pool so that they can start their digging, and they set up shop in this shed, I guess, storage shed at the house. Mm-hmm. And Rachel, of course, is the one who's going to be going first to test the mole morph. And this was kind of a funny little scene where, like we've seen in so many other books, the first time they use a morph, they're not expecting such strong instincts, and they do get carried away a little bit. But I liked this one in particular because Rachel's kind of like messing around, above ground, and everybody's just sort of standing over her, like, talking. And it's great because we're in Rachel's mind. She is the mole, and she's thinking all these mole thoughts. But we also get all the little snippets from everybody else who's like, I think the mole's instincts got her. She seems to be digging around there. They're, just like observing her. Until finally Jake has to pick her up and be like, Rachel, snap out of it.
Which I assumed it's like a dog when you put them like over water, but you don't put them in water. They're just kind of slowly moving in the dog paddle motion. I assume that's what she was doing in Mole Morph.
That could have been. Yeah, well, they set her down and she goes at it and discovers that it's...
She refuses to admit that she lost control of the morph, of course.
Yeah, of course. That's been a strong personality trait of her thus far. The inability...
That's not impulsiveness. That's not a drink forfeit.
But she tests out the mole morph, and they're quick to discover after many hours of digging that it's just not going to be an easy or quick process. They even measure their progress and realize that it's just going to take forever to get the damn tunnel.
And they end up in a bat cave somehow.
Instead of trying to find another way, to their credit, they're just like, okay, we'll put in the work. And it takes them 4 days to put in said work.
Yeah, that was kind of nice, actually. I like the team hitting snags and then just having to, work around it. Even
I get that. I get it. But the fact that they end up in a bat cave just seems too... another convenience. This was the ultimate convenience book.
How you can't turn around. You have to dig these little side holes to turn around even, and how terrifying that kind of was for them. I appreciate that as someone who is absolutely horrified at the idea of spelunking.
Spelunking?
Yeah, well, and
what's that?
Mentions how terrified she is of that until she gets into the mole morph, and moles feel way more comfortable and confident underground, obviously.
Yep, and after 4 days of work, after 4 days of work, they find that they're hitting a snag, and it's not just a snag. It's not like harder soil or anything. They hit rock, bedrock. Which is obviously a big problem for mole morphs. You can't do much with those claws when you're hitting minerals or rock face. So, luckily, though, there is a crack.
By the way, if you like this video, do what I'm going to do now. Make sure you're in camera. I'm going to press the like button. If you like Thought Speak Podcast and you like this episode, go to their channel and like that video. And go subscribe. I'm going to subscribe to them. Go do that.
And Rachel's able to squeeze through it and falls into a sub-cavern. It's not the Yerk pool.
The underground.
The underground.
That in all caps because you thought you were clever in the notes.
Yeah, way to take away my... I mean, this is why I write these notes, because I want to be clever and read them exactly as I wrote them, and then you go ahead and do this story spot. Yeah, the team's all about to give up on their little mole digging quest until Rachel goes back down one last time and snoops around, and she does find a crack in the rocks.
Are they not going to talk about her overcoming her fear thing?
Don't try to. I'm not going to let you say it again and completely say it the way you wanted to so that you can now edit my part out.
I'm not going to go back and read. No, I'm not going to. I've already mentioned the fact that I wrote it this way because I wanted to say it this way. And you going ahead and saying this point before I get to it, it doesn't deter me. I'm going back and saying it.
Crazy.
The only chance we get to use the title of the book.
What's that title again?
The Underground. And it's one thing because sometimes the titles really just don't have much to do with with the book.
To be fair, I'm up to 35, and probably 95% have been relevant in some way.
It's all centered around the York Pool, which is a big underground setting of the series in general. So yeah, I appreciate that. Them kind of theming the whole book around it.
You appreciate me working the title into
No,
that?
I don't appreciate that.
I knew you would.
No, I
knew you
appreciate
would.
the authors for kind of making this theme of the book.
Oh, well, this part is kind of weird, actually. I thought, anyway, because they're in the ground, the underground, and they fall into a giant bat cave, which is not the least believable part about this. The least believable part is that once they all get down there, they demorph, first of all. So they're a bunch of kids sitting around in this bat poop-filled cave in, one could only assume, absolute darkness, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they mentioned any light being down there.
No, there's no way.
And this is where Tobias finally gets a bat morph. So
Yeah, because the rest of them have them from the Eric book.
way back in, book
Number
the
9. Yeah.
8.
Number 9?
8 is the alien.
Oh,
It's either 9 or 10. It might be 10. I think it might be 10.
Nope, it's 9. You're right.
Okay, I was right originally? Okay.
I'll
Just so
give it to
everybody
you.
knows. But yeah, so Tobias awkwardly gets a bat morph in his hawk morph. It's not a morph, in his hawk body. And they find another crack, I guess?
No, once they get their... Everybody's in bat morph now, and they're using their echolocation, and not surprisingly, or...
I haven't drunk in a while.
One or the other. Tobias doesn't encounter any bat instincts to deal with, so I guess they didn't have time to write that in. Just gonna skip over that. And everybody manages to fly right into the Yerk pool with no trouble. And
Yep.
then we get into the second and arguably more exciting part of this book.
Well,
they
define
all-
exciting.
Almost die, and it's pretty terrifying.
Yeah, this is one thing that I can find a lot of fault with. I don't know if you were particularly... if you had as many problems with this as I do, but once they get inside the Yerk pool, and they're flying around in Batmorph, they're almost immediately attacked by what is
Hunter
only
robots.
described as hunter robots.
Yeah, hunter robots.
Security technology to the Yerk pool. And to me, it came out of nowhere.
Yep.
I didn't feel like it really fit in with the what we've seen so far.
Yes, this is what I said. This is exactly what I said. Where the fuck did these hunter robots come from? Where have they... What?
No, I disagree with this.
Oh, whoa. Disagreement is not allowed.
I do have problems with this scene that's coming up, but I don't have a problem with this because they already did the setup. They did the good writing setup of the biogleet filters. So you already have this amped up security in the Yerk pool. So the fact that there is now security within the Yerk pool itself as well to back up that.
Hunter robots is just so generic.
Well, yeah.
Well, I forgive me. I've forgotten which host is which. Hold on a minute. So 4115 we're at.
Just a little.
If you
To really see what the park has to offer,
4115
I'll
we're
turn
at.
you over to our top 2 guides. Take it away, boys.
Welcome to Thought Speak, a podcast dedicated to the weekly discussion of K. Applegate's 1996 book series, Animorphs. My name is Coleman.
And my name is Mitchell.
Right, so Coleman is the less reverb. 4115. Go for
It's
it.
amped up security in the Yerk pool. So the fact that there is now security within the Yerk pool itself as well to back up
Hunter robots is just so.
I agree with Mitchell.
generic.
Well, yeah,
Assuming
the
that's...
name
I
is
got it
generic,
right. I am slightly drunk, by the way. So I've always forgotten who I decided who was which. So I'm going to say Mitchell is right, if I'm thinking of the right one.
The fact that they have these drones that are flying around the cavern, just making sure there's nothing out of place or there's no animals getting in, that is 100% what Visor 3 would do. We know that they have the technology to do it.
How do...
We've
No,
already
no,
seen
we
an
don't.
instance of them ramping up.
We don't know that they have the technology to have hunter robots. That's wrong. That's two fingers. Drink. Oh shit, I muted it.
and the mythology so far.
No, I agree that it makes sense. I just would have liked to see a little bit more creativity than, oh no, hunter robots.
Sure,
They're firing
they could've-
lasers.
I feel like they probably got backed into a corner with that. It's like, what do we call them? But the Animorphs won't know what they're actually called, and yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they could have done
just-
another exposition of like, oh no, those are Escaflowne.
Oh,
It's
that's
a Gundam!
It's a Gundam. I want that book. The Animorphs versus Visor 3's Gundam Morph.
Oh, that'd be a good book.
Right, yeah. That would be. But it's hardly a plot point. When it happened, I was so surprised and off-put by how quickly it came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I was as well.
It just bothered me. That's the kind of thing that bothers me. So.
Here's what I had a problem.
I like Mitchell.
So,
Mitchell's my
they're all getting
favourite.
attacked. They're all just barely surviving against these things that are shooting them point blank, lazily. There's no getting away from them really. So Rachel loses her wing. Her wing gets blasted off by one of these hunter robots, and she falls in the Yerk pool. And the book tried to explain this. It tried to kind of, take our attention away from it. But I refuse to believe that you could morph into a viable host surrounded by Yerks, and they don't have some kind of instinct to implant you.
What do you mean? Like, you don't think the Yerks would want bat? Bat?
No. What he's trying to say,
That's fine. I understand the Yerk's not going.
She demorphs.
But she says she's okay with going to human morph while in the Yerk pool underwater.
Yep.
She's okay going to human morph because the Yerks only go back to the pier. Like they've trained themselves to go back to the pier.
Yeah, to be fair,
but I refuse
they go for specific hosts. So if there's an ear in there that isn't theirs, I understand that.
On this planet, that whenever a host comes anywhere near them, they're able to get in and implant it.
Right, I'm going to go for a toilet and a cigarette break. I'll be back in a bit. Into it.
I refuse to believe that if something fell in that was a viable host, that one of them wouldn't try to enter the canal.
Well, no, I believe that she never actually put her head under the water.
No.
What are you talking about? She goes completely human. Underwater.
Yeah, but she makes a point to mention that she goes underneath the pier so they can't see her.
Let's check this. Let's quickly check this. Okay. Spaloosh land on my back. Not specific designs kill us. Right, falling into the pool. Where's the pool? I was walking around the airport. That's before that. Frost face that's half human, half fully human. I began to morph again. I saw human feet being dragged. Began to emerge back into human form. I was under the pier. I thrust a face that was half human, half bat up the 7 inches. See the scraps. Fully human, I began to morph again. I need to be right at the end of the pier for it to work. I was going to morph. I shrank. So it's not really stated whether her head was under the water or not. It's not actually stated. So they're both wrong and right. So no forfeit here.
And she specifically mentions that she keeps her head above.
No. We're dipping into drink territory now.
Trying to demorph, and that's what kind of adds to the tension and everything. When I read it, I was led to believe that,
If Coleman doesn't disagree with that, it counts as something wrong, which is a drink, so brace yourself.
She never went under.
I didn't get
that's
that
what
from
I
mine. Maybe I
went
missed
away
something,
with
but
it from.
the way they describe the pier, too, when she's an ant morph, it seems like the water...
Right. Coleman seemed to disagree there, so we don't have the forfeit. Close, very close.
Fairly close to the bottom of the pier, so I don't know how she could keep her head out of the water completely. But maybe I missed something. That's possible.
That's the kind of thing I was specifically paying attention for, because immediately when you get a character falling into the Yerk pool, which, hasn't really happened since book 6. Wow. you're attentive to that kind of thing. Like, wow, are they gonna say that she goes under, and maybe like she plugs her ears or something? That makes sense.
Yeah.
But I didn't encounter any problems with that.
Okay, well, we can move on.
She's in there. She demorphs.
Is that something wrong? Because it wasn't explained whether she did or did not, and Mitchell is pretty certain one way or the other, but I don't know.
And she remorphs, as you mentioned, to Ant, and there's a big thing. Ant morph comeback.
Yeah, it seems like there could have been another. I mean, I understand. She wanted to go something incredibly small, like unnoticeably small.
Yeah.
I probably would have gone termite over ant, just because you had less of a chance of running into a colony, which was the big problem with a termite, versus an ant, that their problem with that was just they couldn't handle the mind itself.
Yeah. It's surprisingly no problems there controlling Ant Morph this time.
Because it was convenient.
Convenient, yes, exactly.
She basically manages to march straight out of the Yerk pool and attach herself to somebody's pant leg.
Are we not going to talk about how she just magically managed to end up on the pier stanchion?
Very smooth. Very going well for the most part. Although she doesn't know where anybody is, if anybody's alive, whatnot.
Yeah, this was kind of dare I say, a convenience.
Yes, I love it. I was right in my reviews. I haven't seen this podcast before. And when I did my video review of this book, it was titled, "Oh, How Convenient." Every so often I put a Simpsons clip of Homer just saying, "Oh, how convenient." And I love the fact that they're agreeing with me.
Or not really able to find her way around or anything, but somehow she ends up in a private room where she is able to demorph successfully.
Yes.
She even finds a Dracon beam.
Yes.
Around.
Convenient.
This is the part where the story, to me, finally picked up to a point where I was interested in.
No, it got worse. It got worse.
So she gets a Dracon beam, which that's more Rachel's character. I can totally see her gunslinging around the Yerk pool, just firing it off. I'm surprised she even put it in a low setting and wasn't just murdering people left and right.
Does that count as character traits? Impulse? Yeah, go on then. One finger, drink.
Yeah. This definitely brings her character around, because I mean, I don't even think that Cassie would be so bold as to pick up a Dracon beam and start 007ing around the Yerk pool there.
Yeah, it's a cool scene, and she gets around.
No, it's not. It's pretty bad.
Again, pretty flippant with that human morph, but
she even manages to take out a couple of the controllers that are just like standing around, and I think she steals clothes from some of them to kind of blend in with the Yerk pool crowd.
Yeah, until she's able to find Axe, the first Animorph she finds.
Right. Yeah. Pretty much everybody's not doing so well. Axe is, demorphed, and he's surrounded by controllers, and the situation's not going well. Marco's desperately calling out to Rachel, like, "Where are you? Everybody's worried," all that.
She's human, she can't respond. I did have a little problem with Axe giving up. They beat it into our heads, and there's no Andalite controllers except Visitor 3. That's because they kill themselves before they let themselves be captured.
That's not something I've ever thought about, actually, from that book.
Even though he's a kid, even though he's an Oris, I still have a hard time believing that he would give himself.
I never thought of that when I reviewed that book.
Yeah, but
nice to point it out.
That page count is really climbing, and we gotta wrap this thing up.
Yes, exactly.
No problem. And this is where Rachel manages to overhear quite the convenient exchange.
Convenient.
One of which just so happens to get in trouble for having some oatmeal.
Just fucking convenience. It's ridiculous.
It lets us know that there is a storeroom nearby that is holding all of the confiscated oatmeal. It's a lot, because apparently this is a major problem within your community. They're being addicted left and right.
Oh, it also would be good to mention the fact that in deciding to go through with this whole oatmeal plot, the Animorphs, specifically Marco, has stocked up on this instant maple ginger oatmeal.
Yeah.
And even though they've done this, they really had no idea how they would get it to the Yeerk pool.
Yes, I
Especially,
mentioned that in the
instead of
review.
going More for thinking mole. I don't know what their strategy was, and they really didn't even have a strategy.
No, they
just
didn't.
Went down into the Yeerk pool.
They really didn't.
Well,
And that's actually a big problem with this book.
No,
Yes.
not necessarily a problem because
Yes, Mitchell, I fucking love you. I've agreed with you practically every step of the way, and we parrot each other quite spectacularly.
I think this is just another instance of this was supposed to be a scouting mission, and then once the hunter robots showed up, they were fighting for their lives. There was no...
Coleman, nah, mate, nah.
I guess, but man, it wasn't very well thought out, and this
Yes.
plot point here is what makes everything so convenient. Is that the Yeerks just happen to have a storeroom full of barrels.
Yes, yes, Mitchell, Christ, I love you, mate. You're fucking brilliant.
You know.
That they keep on site.
Yeah.
Well, it's very important. And Rachel, overhearing this conversation, is almost discovered once again by the controllers, but she manages to escape once again by
Yes.
knocking out another controller.
Yep.
She even finds Cassie, who's hanging out.
She's just hanging.
I picture Cassie just like hanging out in the cafeteria eating some fries.
Cassie in horse morph, standing around in his
She's just
Everybody's just walking by her. She's standing there.
This
crazy.
book is so shit.
and this is when a bug fighter happens to show up. You guessed it, Visitor 3.
Hey, but
Because it's been a book since we've seen him.
that's such character trait. Finger drink.
Oh yeah, he was antsy to get back in the action.
And we meet up with Marco, who's already in Gorilla Morph, ready for action. And, Rachel wants to go elephant, but
I'm sorry, I can't fucking help it. I don't even know what I'm laughing at. Fucking hell. I don't even know what I'm laughing at anymore. Right, one finger drink.
I mean, she wants to go grizzly initially, but then she rethinks this as the team is regrouping, and she ends up going elephant.
Yeah, and I like this little scene in the storeroom where they're like, okay, we've got to go out through here. We've got to get around these people. We've got to somehow sneak across.
Are you not going to talk about the fact that all this shit is going down and Marco's just sitting in a storeroom eating bananas? You're not going to mention that, huh?
This one building, and then we'll be back at the storeroom. And then Rachel's like, wait, isn't the storeroom like on the other side of this wall? And Marco's like, yes it is. And then they just plow through it.
Yeah, that made sense. That was
It's a very
smart.
movie-like scene.
And this is kind of a bad situation that they're in, really. But considering what they've got, they make the best out of it. And Rachel manages to, in her elephant morph, toss a couple of these barrels of oatmeal into the nearby Yeerk pool.
Well, yeah, they demolished this shed that held all this oatmeal in it. So there's all these barrels that they assume the oatmeal's in because
It was such a shit book, wasn't it?
So
Fucking
they
hell.
they start tossing these barrels into the Yeerk pool, so they're floating there, unopened.
Yeah, and then they've got this kind of Mexican standoff situation with Visitor 3, where, they're basically saying, hey, give us our freedom and we won't, addict all your Yeerks there on this oatmeal.
And this is easily the most badass scene.
No!
I would
No!
almost say of any of the books so far.
No!
Go that far. So they're in this Mexican standoff. It's up to Visitor 3 to either protect the Yeerks who are in the pool or let the Andalite bandits go. He makes the decision very quickly that we can lose half the Yeerk pool, which is what would happen if one of these barrels exploded. We can lose half the Yeerk pool to this addictive substance if it means I can get the Andalite bandits. And in this scene, Rachel figures that out. It's the best thing that we have to be in her head because she figures it out as he decides to do that. And Rachel, no thought process, no anything, runs up in elephant morph and grabs Visitor 3 around the midsection. You know.
Right. So that's a finger for Rachel's impulsiveness. That's a finger for that. Fuck me, I'm drunk. Oh, I didn't expect this to be so drinky. Fuck me. I'm going to need to get another bottle, aren't I? Right. Let's get a couple more bottles. Just to be on the safe side of things. Christ almighty. You know, I didn't know how much I'll be drinking with these podcast episodes, but fuck me. Oh. This is great. Mitchell and Coleman. Great stuff. Great stuff. I love it. And if you've enjoyed their podcast, by the way, go. The links are in the description. Where was I? Oh. Fucking hell. So one finger. I don't even know where the fuck I was. Let's just carry on.
Knowing what these Andalites, how fast they are with their tail, how deadly they are.
Oh yeah, the whole Visser 3 thing. And we're not going to bring up the fact that he just put himself in harm's way in a vulnerable position when he was in the winning position. And we're not going to bring that up, Thought Speak podcast. We're not going to bring that fucking shit up.
Oh, she gets hit.
Oh, she gets hit bad. She gets hit once. That was kind of just like a surprised Andalite slash. And then he goes for her eyes and probably gets pretty deep and really, really hurts the morph. So she gets away with it. She throws Visitor 3 in this badass scene of into the pool. And then Marco raises the Dracon beam and asks if Visitor 3 is still willing to be a part of this possible sacrifice with the Yeerks. It's awesome.
Suddenly.
No, that's wrong. That is objectively wrong. It's shit. We've established in later books, as I've been reading through the series, that they can decide to close their... Just give me a minute.
To be a part of this possible sacrifice with the Yeerks. It's awesome.
Suddenly he cares if they shoot the barrels.
3, let's go.
Yeah, it's the best scene in this book and one of the best scenes of the series.
It truly is not one of the best scenes of the series. Right? So we've established in later books that Andalites can close their hooves so they can decide what they eat. A scene cannot be badass and a plot inconsistency at the same time. They're mutually exclusive. So that's something wrong, and that's 2 fingers. Drink.
So they managed to free the rest of the team because, of course, Visitor 3 is not going to give any orders when he himself is in danger. And everybody gets to make their escape, but, Visitor 3 is kind of a sore loser, so... Of course, we haven't seen a morph from him for a while, and he does just that. Morphs into this big, spiky bird thing.
They say it looks like a pterodactyl, and then they go on to describe it to look almost exactly like a pterodactyl with spikes.
Yeah, like a mix between a pterodactyl and a hedgehog. Which
and I'd like
sweet.
to point out, they keep saying pterodactyl, but it's really a pteranodon, because pterodactyls didn't have a back crest, which they described as having, so...
Yeah, they didn't have quills.
Good knowledge. Exactly. Good knowledge. I like it, lads.
But when I was reading this thing, I was like, man, we don't have many pages left. How's this gonna end? And they do get they get trapped sort of inside the Yeerk pool, and this is where Rachel comes up with the brilliant idea of just shooting out the ceiling and telling everybody to go mole, which they do.
Yeah, they're on the staircase, so it's not like they're shooting out the main dome of the Yeerk pool. It's just the sloping ceiling into the stairwell.
Yeah, probably one little stairwell.
But yeah, there's Hork-Bajir coming down the stairs. There's Hork-Bajir and Visitor 3 coming up the stairs, so they didn't have a lot of...
Apologies for my coughing.
No, not at
it's
all.
all smoking.
This is... you mentioned earlier how they had...
Filthy habit.
In Molmorph, they had to dig little spots to turn around. And one of the things she mentions here is how they're all able to escape It took forever, and she even had to stop and dig out a spot for them to be able to demorph underground and then remorph. Like, how could an individual or even a group of 5 moles dig a space underground large enough for the humans
Well, I think they could do it, and I don't think they were all together. I think they were all doing their own separate holes.
Exactly.
It's not about making one giant cavern where they could demorph.
That would be more believable than the individual mole having to. I mean, think about Axe. Think about the Axe mole.
Well, that's why
he would have to dig out a huge section just to demorph.
Yeah, and that's why they say it took forever. But I could believe if they
2 hours. It would take more than 2 hours
for all 5 of them. I would less believe that because where's all that dirt going? Where's
exactly
how are they being supported? A brand new structure underground. That would be harder to believe than them digging out 5 to 6 feet in length for a human body to demorph in.
It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, probably. And I mean, it doesn't really give us a specific time frame. I have to assume
it's got to be less than 2 hours. That's your time frame.
Making their way out to the surface and kind of regrouping and going their separate ways. And the book ends with Rachel going home after some time and speaking with her mom, who reveals that George Edelman has escaped from the Mental Health Institute with the aid of a large grizzly bear. I wonder who that was.
Well, the patients say it was a grizzly bear. No one believes the patients because it's a nut house. So
right, but
once again, the hypocrisy. I hate to point out the hypocrisy of the host because they've done a fantastic job this episode, but you're criticising the kids earlier of calling it a nut house, and then you call it a nut house yourself,
We all know it was Rachel.
We all know it was
Which
Rachel.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad that she...
It's not nice. That's wrong. It's not nice. I covered it in my review. It's not nice. What are you consigning him to? He's got to be on his own in the woods, camping, just on his own, or else he's going straight back to the mental institute.
Ended up going back and helping.
I like how offhanded it was. I like that they didn't show the scene. So it was kind of like Rachel was so sick and tired after this Yerk pool getaway that she just was so fed up with all the bull crap. She went over to the mental institution, morphed a grizzly, opened his door, and let him out.
Yeah, it was definitely cool, and we didn't even...
No, it wasn't. It was awful.
...play out in order to believe it and, be happy with it.
And the whole mother being his lawyer was irrelevant. I mean, that was just for a couple lines of exposition. They could have done that a more clever way.
Yeah, now that I think about it. When I first read that line, I was thinking, oh, great, now we're going to have to sit, in a courtroom scene with Rachel sitting there.
Oh, come on. How good would that be if we had an entire book that was somebody on trial, and it was like Have
you not read Visser?
The poker game from Casino Royale, where there's the main poker game, and then all these adventure scenes are happening outside or in hotel rooms around it, and they all come back to the table. How awesome it would be if the Animorphs had this courtroom scene where they're morphing outside, coming back in, they're trying to keep witnesses alive, and that'd be awesome.
That would be pretty awesome.
I want to read that book.
Megamorphs #5.
Yeah.
Courtroom drama.
I want that book.
Visser, that's what it is.
This book ends with just one little last beat here where Rachel's hanging out at home.
I'm fucking drunk,
Marco
I tell you.
stops by to unload his oatmeal on her, and presumably, confess his love for her.
Oh, that totally happened off screen, 100%.
Is that a reference to jokes? I don't think so.
They gave her a scene with Tobias. Now they got to give her a scene with Marco.
Yep, that's the love triangle.
Is my theory.
If she would have pushed that into a love triangle, like actually made it more obvious instead of the subtle good love triangle it is now, this could have totally been Twilight.
Oh, please
Maybe.
don't.
I'm almost glad it didn't go that route.
Well,
That
I'm just saying it could have had that popularity, except it would have had good writers.
This episode's making me ill.
Well, my friend, that is book number 17, The Underground.
Hey!
Discussed it. I think we've done it justice.
Mm-hmm.
I think we are.
It's a
ready
shit
to
book.
rate and review it. What say you?
I say I'm going first.
Oh, okay.
Deal with it.
Wondering which roller coaster has the highest top speed, or what exhibit is our guide's favorite in the park? Just ask them. They love to share their opinions.
Right, I'm asking them,
to help
how
you better
shit is
plan
this
your
book? My conclusion is very.
So this book was, I don't know. It's not as bad as everybody makes it out.
It is bad. It is bad.
A 1 out of 5 or anything, and it's one of those books that the whole oatmeal thing has become more infamous than what the actual plot was or the writing standard or anything. And I think at this point, Rachel is more of a side character still. She's the one who has some witty lines, has some sarcastic remarks with Marco.
No, I agree with that
ready
bit.
to jump into battle. She doesn't have a full-on character yet, which is why I think her books struggle. I mean, that's the worst thing about
Yep,
them, is they
I agree with.
struggle
I
to
fully
have
agree with that.
personality. I don't think they found it yet. So, with that said, I was writing a 2 for pretty much the entire book. That said, a couple of the scenes I think were excellent. The
Nope.
Mexican standoff. And
Wrong.
everything after that
Wrong.
I thought was really, really good.
I can't count as a drinkable
Better
offence,
writing
though,
than
because
the
it is
rest of the book.
opinion.
I like that they went back to the Yerk pool, and it was actually another really tense situation. Wasn't as scary as the first time, but since they added in all those claustrophobia elements, it actually made it pretty terrifying as well. But yeah, I think they also did a good job of this book being themed. It's the underground, and everything has to do with the underground, including their war.
But it was shit.
So that brought it up to a 3. So I'm going to give it 3 out of 5.
No, you're wrong, mate.
Aw, you took my rating. I was going to use the Gleek biofilters.
It's mine.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I for the most part, I think feel like you and I have the same opinions for
No.
a lot of this. The things I like
Mitchell,
about
don't
the
let me
book,
down.
the fact that George Edelman as a character, he actually had a really depressing story that I think maybe they could have
Yeah,
done a little
the
bit more.
depressing story was that he was part of this book.
The short snippet we're given works for the story, and it's entertaining enough. The things that I kind of had a problem with are definitely, like you said, with Rachel. At this point, she has very few character traits to her. She's had less development, I feel like, than even Cassie. She's
Whoa. Right, let's get this straight, Thought Speak podcast. Yeah, to be fair, book 4, Cassie had little to no development, but books 9 to 14, I thought she had plenty of development. So don't give me that shit.
just way too impulsive.
Oh, character trait! That was the very word I used. Character trait. Rachel's impulsiveness, 1 finger. And he just said impulsive. I'm counting that. 1 finger, drink.
Which did get kind of annoying throughout. I feel like the plot of the story hinges on some major conveniences.
Yes,
Too many
it does.
Conveniences, in fact.
Yes,
I
you're
really
correct, Mitchell.
Consider it a well thought out story.
Yes,
I
exactly.
feel like the whole oatmeal plot, while interesting, it's kind of like the cannibalism plot in that it will be quickly forgotten and never mentioned again. Like you said, everything up until the point where they demorph from bat, it was kind of boring, to say the least. It felt like
Harsh
I
words.
actively had to work through it to get to.
Honestly, I'm of the opposite opinion. Everything up to the part where they demorph from bat was barely tolerable. Everything after was utter shite.
Where this story was going, and then in the end, while it was kind of a fun climax, it just really
No, it wasn't. It was
leave me
shit.
with a very strong impression overall.
No.
And because of that fact, I couldn't really recommend this book to fans of the series. This
Yes,
is one of the
you're
books where I'd
correct.
say, you could skip it. You really could. And
Yes,
because of
correct.
that, it doesn't earn a 3 in my eyes. It's a full-on 2.
Yes, Mitchell is my fucking favourite.
2 out of 5 Batmorphs.
Batmorphs.
Roughly my
There's a
score.
B.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's interesting. I thought you were gonna
Not the
figure out
book,
well.
the score.
No, I felt very strongly about a 2 until I hit that end point where it ramped up a bit, and then I thought, oh, this is some 3-worthy action here. But it doesn't get into any of that until far too late.
Yeah,
after
too little,
the point
too late
where I
scenario.
stopped caring.
Yeah.
And it's just when I think about it, when I really think hard about it, this is not a book that I would go, oh yeah, you should read this one.
Yep,
This
I
is the
agree.
one that I would full on go, nah, skip it.
Yep. Yes, Mitchell. Fucking yes. All throughout this drinking game, I've said, Mitchell, you're spot on, mate. Fucking spot on. And I've not changed my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know. There's elements that I thought were worthy of this.
Coleman, keep up, mate.
It's not really filter. It's not really filler because I don't know.
It is filler.
I don't think it does, but who knows?
Yeah, I don't think it does either. Much like the cannibalism plot, you know, they might mention it later on.
As far as
but-
we know, all of these things come back up in the ghostwritten books that we've never read. So
right, we'll see. I have an inkling though that I doubt the oatmeal plot will come back into play ever again.
yeah.
Not really.
All right. Well, that's this week's episode. I mean, that's our review and discussion of the 17, The Underground. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I at least enjoyed reading the book. I mean, I thought it was worth reading. So
It was
always
shit.
Enjoy reading an Animorphs book.
Not this one.
Whether or
No.
not I could go on to recommend it to new fans of the series or.
I certainly would not.
So, okay, well, great. Hopefully you enjoyed the episode. And definitely, if you did, go on iTunes. You can review us on there. Give us 5 stars. We've got a pretty good run right now. Don't ruin it.
Right, only 5 stars.
Yeah, so far, 21 reviews. Or I think it's up to like 23 now. I can't remember.
Nah, we're still on 21.
Either way. But you can also go to our Facebook, like us on there if you want to see when the new episodes come out or if we have other things to post. We usually post a lot of it on the Facebook. And usually whatever gets posted to Facebook, I also post to Twitter. But I post to some other things to Twitter as well. So you can follow us on Twitter at Morphcast, where
At
Michael
Morphcast.
Grant and series author Kay Applegate have followed our Twitter. So that's who you've got to compete with as far as looking at our tweets.
Ooh,
And
we're so popular.
We're so popular. And you can also obviously check out our website where all the episodes are posted, as well as some bios about us. And apparently we're saving the wildlife now.
Yeah, you know, I after thinking about it good and long, I think this ThoughtSpeak podcast can be put to some good use by sort of spreading the word about some of the transgressions that are happening currently concerning our endangered animal species.
Oh, modern political issues. 2 fingers. I mean, I suppose it's not political, but I'm counting it. It's a fucking drink. Right, I need to go to the lab. Be right back.
Specifically, elephants, rhinos, and tigers are 3 of the primary ones that come to mind. So I'm working on a new page of the website called Save the Animals. If it's up by the time we get this episode posted, by all means, go check it out. There's some real troubling facts listed there, and we'd really like to spread the word about this. And particularly, I just want to get the word out about stopping ivory trafficking and terrorism funding.
Yeah.
Some serious stuff.
We're getting into the heady subject matter on our website, which you can check all that out at thoughtspeakcast.com. So that's where that is.
That's right.
If you have anything to add to that, or you want to just talk to us in general, you can email us at thoughtspeakcast@gmail.com as well.
That would be a good idea. We love hearing from y'all. As
I love hearing from y'all.
going to Reddit and joining the conversation.
Yeah, r/Animorphs on Reddit. That's where we hang out and post the episodes. So we reply to a lot of people on there as well. That's where we usually bring up the conversations.
Right
We
then.
do. We love
You
chatting.
heard him.
Yep. So that's where you can contact us and see more of our stuff. Right now, we are also promoting Mitch's new book series, Devil Ash Days, which you can see at devilashdays.com, which Mitch is the author of that series. There's going to be 3 books pretty soon, within this year.
It's coming
possibly.
up.
Yeah. But there are 2 books released right now, and I actually directed a book trailer, a live-action book trailer for the book series, which can also be checked out at devilashdays.com.
It's super cool. It would be in your best interest to support the series, support us, the hosts of this podcast, in our personal and professional lives. We greatly appreciate it. All your reviews, all your friendly comments, everything.
Yeah, so check all that out and let us know what you think. So that's us. That's the episode. I'm glad we're sticking to this new format of keeping things pretty tight, which is why we're not really reading any reviews from listeners this week or anything like that. Maybe we'll be able to fit that into future episodes. But right now, I like that we're wrapping things up on time and still getting into some really good discussion. So this is how I'd like our new episodes to be for the future.
They will continue to go like this. Next time, we are reading book number 18, The Decision.
All right.
This is
mention your name.
I anticipate it will be a good one.
I hope so. It's Axe, right?
Oh, yeah.
It is Axe.
Okay.
Right.
Well, yeah, we'll be getting to
Mention
that
your name so I can
next
drink your
time
finger.
on ThoughtSpeak. My name is Coleman.
My name is Mitchell. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and a Happy New Year, everybody.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
everybody
Christmas.
be safe and have a good time this holiday season, and we'll see you after the break.
We'll see you.
It was November 9th when this was released. It was a bit before holiday season, but they mentioned the name, so one finger. But in fact, might as well finish your drink. Why not? Finish your drink. This has been fun. Thank you very much for watching if you've got this far. Thank you all to all the regular watchers. I can see that my microphone is running out of power, so I've got to end this quite quickly. Thank you very much for watching. I shall see you next week. We'll be looking at a completely different podcast. What we're doing is we're seeing how drunk I can get. Which podcast gets me the most drunk? That's the game. So, thank you very much for watching. Links in the description for the ThoughtSpeak podcast. Go check that out if you really liked it. I shall see you next week. Ta-ra!